For decades, Americans were promised a simple deal: work hard, retire at 65, and live comfortably. But today, that promise is collapsing under the weight of rising rent, healthcare costs, inflation, and inadequate savings. Millions are approaching retirement only to discover that Social Security may barely cover housing. Even those with a 401k could be losing thousands to hidden fees and weak contribution strategies. So why are nearly 90% of Americans at risk of retiring broke or working well into their 70s? In this video, we'll break down the numbers, reveal the invisible forces working against your savings, and show you 3 practical variables that could completely change your retirement future. Most of us were raised with a very specific finish line in mind. You turn 65, you clock out for the last time, and the money required to sustain your lifestyle simply appears. But for the vast majority of the population, that trajectory is currently colliding with a set of mathematical realities that make the traditional stop date nearly impossible to reach. The first obstacle is the floor of the American retirement system. This chart compares the average monthly Social Security check, roughly $1,900, to average monthly rent. In many parts of the country, housing alone consumes the entire check before you buy a single bag of groceries. For Americans aged 55 to 64, the median dalliance is $185,000. A 4% withdrawal rate generates $7,400 a year, or $616 a month. Combined with Social Security, you have under $2,500 monthly. Add healthcare and inflation, and the math collapses. This is why 90% of Americans are now on a path where they either retire broke or keep working part-time into their 70s. Because they treated retirement as a birthday, they missed the fact that the math required for an exit was never actually there. If you have been working steadily for decades and still feel behind, it is likely because there are unseen mathematical forces working against you. The first is the cost of the accounts themselves. Most standard 401k plans carry expense ratios, administrative fees that compound in the background, siphoning off a percentage of your total wealth every year. This area chart shows the impact over a full career. A fee that is just 1% higher than the market average can result in a 6-figure loss by the time you reach 65. You never see a bill, your future just erodes quietly. The second force is a flat contribution rate. When your salary grows but your retirement contribution stays the same, inflation and rising costs of living prevent your savings from ever gaining meaningful momentum. Passive setting creates a deficit because these invisible deductions and inflationary pressures are designed to outpace standard wage growth. Solving this requires moving away from guesswork and plugging 3 specific variables into your financial strategy. First, identify your target variable. Take the annual income you need to live comfortably and multiply that by 25. This gives you the specific MEAG required to support a 4% withdrawal rate indefinitely. Second is the defense variable. Check your 401k today and ensure your expense ratio is below 0.5%. This stops the quiet erosion of your principal. Finally, use an accelerator variable. Set an automated 1% contribution increase every year. By tying this to your annual raise, you increase your savings velocity without reducing your take-home pay. By aligning these 3 variables, the path to retirement shifts from a vague chronological goal to a predictable calculation based on your specific needs. If you are discovering these numbers late in your career, the instinct is to abandon the plan, but being behind simply means the math requires a more aggressive strategy, not a total retreat. Consider a scenario where a worker has 0 retirement savings and only starts this process at age 45. This timeline shows what happens if they commit $300 a month to a portfolio, tracking historical market returns for 20 years. By APE 65, that consistent commitment have compounded into over $170,000. It is not a complete solution on its own, but it is a massive shift in the final equation. Financial independence is rarely the result of a high income alone. It is the result of people who prioritize precise calculation over the assumption that everything will work out at 65. While economic factors vary, the data suggests that those who treat retirement as a solvable math problem and automate the variables to solve it find themselves in a significantly stronger position than those who rely on the default trajectory. Stop waiting for a specific age, calculate your target number, lock in your defensive fees, and start the automation today. Download the resources related to the video. Link in the description.